Hi there, welcome to OnlineLessonVideos.com. I'm Ian Walsh. You just heard a tune on the fiddle called The Morning Dew, and I'm going to teach it to you today. It's comprised of 3 parts, and the whole tune is pretty much in the key of E minor. Along with this video, there's a backing track with just some guitar, and the chords are basically E minor, D, C, and G arranged throughout the tune. So let's get started learning this. We'll start with the first part. I'll break it down for you, and let's get going. The Morning Dew in the key of E minor. Here we go. Let's start off this tune by taking a look at some of the double stops that we can use in here. Since this is an E minor, let's start off with an E note. Well, first of all, you have your E here. You have your open E. And here you have an E. This is on your D string. It's your first note, your first full step here. You play it with your first finger. Okay, so right away you can just check, make sure these 2 notes sound in tune with each other. From there, let's look at our double stops. We can go to the lower regions. You add in a B. This is on the G string, so this note is. Mix that with the E. Okay, now you also have this in the middle of your fiddle on your A and your D string. So again, you play your E, and then you let your finger kind of squash over, but in the exact same flat area, and you let it play a B as well. So you play. Okay, so there's another. That's the exact same double stop, only the B's on the higher register. From there, you can play a B and an E. Okay, again, that's your open E. So those are just some of the notes that we'll be using, especially this one in the middle. We're going to do a lot of back and forth. Okay, so the beginning of this tune, the notes here, it starts off on E, and we play a long E. We go over to our B. Okay, so that first little section is 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, now from there, we're going to go into that E, B thing. So we go. Okay. Okay, the note after that is A. So let's take a look at what we have so far. We start off on the E. Let's try that a few times. 1, 2. 1, 2. And one last time. 1, 2. Now I'm going to show you the rest of the first part here. We repeat a lot of what we have. So we start off on the E. We play that B, B, A, F again. To the A right there. And now we have some new notes. We walk up to our D. We're going to use a C sharp. Let me put that into context for you. Okay, and from there you repeat. You play the first part again. Okay, now before we move on, I want to add one important element, I think, into this first part, and that's rolling with our first finger. So if you remember, a roll is 5 notes played together with 1 bow. Here's what it would look like to play an E roll with your first finger in slow motion. Okay, so 1 bow, I chose to use a down bow here, but I'm playing 5 notes. And eventually, as you practice these over and over again, you're going to pick up speed to where you're not really hearing a note with your third finger, you're hearing more of a grace note. And then it sounds like this. Okay, so we'll use it slow for now. It may sound a little strange, but it's a good way to learn them, or to get them, is to practice them slowly. So we'll try putting that roll in on the E in the very beginning here of the Morning Dew, so the first part. So we start off, instead of just that long E, we're going to make it a roll. So we'll go. Let's try that again. Let's try it. I'll count us in. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. Now if we continue, I'll play the first part for you twice through now. Play along, and we'll put those rolls in. 1, 2. Let's get into the second part. Okay, I like to start off the second part with a heavy bow. Since we're moving away from, the first part was mostly, our notes were on the D string, and a lot of notes were on the A string. And we didn't get to the E string until the very end of the first part. Now the second part, most of the notes are on the A string and the E string. So we immediately make a change there from our bowing in the middle of our fiddle to bowing these top two strings, the A and the E. So I like to start off sliding right in with this B and this E, kind of heavy, because you're immediately going to be playing a. Okay, so you can see there you're going to get ready to move your finger over to get another note that's right across from your B, and that's an F. So you have a B and an F here, and then the B and the E. So here's the first sequence of notes for the second part. Okay, I know we can try that a few times. It can be a little tricky to get your finger over there. You can see I kind of just knock my hand back, raise my wrist a little bit, and I'm able to get that note while staying on the B. Okay, so we try this. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, from there we have, well, the way we have this noted out, you're going to have a triplet on the B, so you play a triplet on the B. 3 of them like that. And we play a D. So that's a pretty common thing we've seen so far, the D, B, A to the open D. Okay, back up to the A. So that's put us in a pretty circular spot right there. We're at. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, it sounds like my E might be a little flat. I'm going to bring it up. Sounds better. We'll try that again. 1, 2. Okay, so our next little pattern or measure that we have here is very similar to that. Instead of using the B and the F together, though, we're going to walk down from a G. So B. So instead of playing this is how we played it in the beginning. Now we're going to play. Okay, and instead of going to that B right there, we're going to go to a C sharp, and that's going to put us into our ending sequence notes. We'll get to that in a second. Here we have from the beginning, 1, 2. And we'll stop there on the C sharp. Let's try that again. 1, 2. One, 2. Okay, since we're just dying to get ahead in some more of these notes, we'll go from that C sharp to the D, and you play D, C, D. Okay, now depending on if you're going to repeat the first part again, you're going to go to an A for your last note there. And if you're going into the third part, you're going to go to a D. Okay, so just kind of depending where you are. And again, that actually, you can play both the A and the D at the same time when you're playing this tune, so then that eliminates that choice, and it would sound more like this. You just let the bow play both the A and the D. Let's cycle through the second part now, slowly, about 4 times. I'll count us in. 1, 2. And I have to show you this second ending here that I just played. It's a triplet. I start off with a B, C, D. So a quick triplet with the bow, just like that. And then we move to the E. So all together that's. Okay, we go E, D, C, D. B, A. Okay, so that ending is from the triplet. This is the B, C, D, 2, 3. And again, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll back up now. We'll cycle through it. You're going to play that second ending, the second half of the part here. If you listen here, you'll see where it goes in. 1, 2. Let's repeat. Okay, we have the third part ahead of us now. But before we do, let's just back up in the first part and add in some rolls. And we added in a roll in the first part using our first finger. This was on the note was an E. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to use our first finger still. So we're not going to get too crazy with other rolls in this tune, although you can. If you're good with working with rolls with the second and third fingers, there's lots of opportunities for rolls in this tune. But we're going to stick with our first finger roll. And this is a little trickier of a roll. You have to play it a little bit quicker to fit it in. But basically, you've seen, and you've probably seen it already in the video, but you play a. Now in slow-mo, again, that's just. So if you play it along with the tune. And right there, I'm gracing my G. I'm playing G, F, G. There it is without the grace. But if you add that grace, your third finger. Okay, you're just letting it fall right after you. So you play the G. And you grace it. So that's how I'm getting that sound in the end of my, my triplet here. Okay, so one more time through the second part, a little bit quicker so I can show you how these rolls are supposed to sound. 2, 3. Okay, let's get into the third part. The third part of this tune moves back over into your middle 2 strings on your fiddle, your D and your A, for the majority of them. And I really like this part. I'm going to show you this first section, which ends with a roll. Just this section is going to end with a roll on our B. So we've been working a lot on rolls in this lesson and putting them into this tune. So we'll end this first. You can see I start on my B, and I walk down. All these notes are following right after each other. that's our B roll. So that's the first section here. Let's try that again. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, some notes that follow right here. We go to the G and we play G, B, A. Straight over the D and play D, F, A. We put that together and we get So let's take a look at that first section where we end with the B roll. Then we play. Let's put that together. Okay, you can probably hear where we're at in the third part now. We're about halfway through. So let's just take a moment and digest some of this right here. We'll play it about 3 times. I'll count us in. 1, 2. One, two. One, two. Okay, now we have our next section. It starts off very similarly. It starts off with that walk down, starting from the B. Here it is. Okay, so you can see we use that. We use those notes that we've had throughout the tune already, walking up to the D and playing D, C, D. Sorry, there's no D, C, D there. It's just B, C, D. So let's put that into context for you. The third part here, played in its entirety. 2, 3. The measure ends right there, but your root note, E, is what you're going to end on, and we can use one of our double stops from the beginning of this lesson. There we go, B and E, or the middle two, depending on what you would like to play or how you would like it to sound. Now, if you're going in to repeat the tune, it puts you, kind of sets you up to come right back down on that E for the first note. So I'll show you what that sounds like coming out of the third part. Let me say a few things about grace notes. You can see, especially in the first part there, I use grace notes sometimes in a direct relationship with my bowing. Using a grace note can allow you to it can save you a bow movement. So instead of playing 2 Bs, you can play 1 bow movement and grace the B at that interval change where you want to hear what would sound like a bow change. So instead of, you get all in 1 bow, and you get a pretty similar sound. So here it is again, 2 bows, 1 bow, 2 bows, 1 bow. Okay. Now I use this in the first part a lot, so I'll play my E roll. Okay, and that's kind of a long bow there, and I'll match that with an up bow the same length, only using a grace note to divide my Bs. Here it is again. Okay, and it still gives me that effect of... Okay, now the same thing in the third part that we just learned. I'll grace that B a lot. It's almost like a habit of mine. And when I play a B a lot, I'll grace with the third finger. I'll just let it slap down on the string. So I'll play... let's go ahead and play through the tune slowly, and then maybe we'll start to speed it up, and eventually you should be able to get it up to about 114, which is the beat that the backing track is set up. So let's go back to the beginning and start playing together. I'll count us in here. Start with the E, find that note. There's your B. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's speed it up. Thanks for coming to OnlineLessonVideos.com and purchasing this video from me. Enjoyed teaching it today. It's a great tune to play. It's a great session tune. And I hope you enjoy playing it too. I'll see you next time.